Welcome to Stockton-on-Tees, the destination for a 10k running adventure that brings the rat race to the north of England. Prepare to walk the plank for some wet and wild activity. People here may like their Sunday morning swims, but Stockton is also a town for innovation and discovery. Captain James Cook was a local lad and set off from here on a Stockton-built ship to explore the seas down under. The Infinity Bridge, which spans the Tees, has lit up the world of architecture, winning awards for its design. The world's first steam railway run from here. Even the match was invented in Stockton, a thing that is of no use where we're going, because our 1,000 competitors are about to taste the Tees in the Stockton River Rat Race. And in this event, no one stays dry. Let's join your commentator Rob Walker for a longer look at the ups, downs and dunkins that lie in wait.
Well, the first crossing of the Tees is over the Infinity Bridge. There are more than a dozen or so obstacles during this 10k race with a difference, including several plunges in the river at the Whitewater Centre. There's walking the plank on HM Bark Endeavour, the Lockgate Swim and the Raft Crossing before the charge into the finish. Some will take 50 minutes, others closer to 2 hours. Such is the challenging nature of this course.
We're in our third year of this event and it's bigger and better than ever. No matter what we throw at the rat racers, they keep smiling and coming back for some more. So we've been out to find out just why.
Ready to jump in the river as a river rat.
But this is the first rat race we've ever done yet.
It's our first experience for all of us.
What sort of training you've been doing for this?
Just running, so I'm a bit worried about some of the assaults we have to do.
There's one in particular, the boat jump. You don't have to do much training, and that's just falling involved there. But I have heard the river is quite cold. So does that worry anyone?
Yeah, it does. I'm not looking forward to swimming in the river like and swimming in the river.
We just do the running, and we come here, and it's just good fun with the obstacles. And luckily, it's a nice day, but clearly there's some water heading our way.
I've really done one before, but it's my first one, so I'm looking forward to it.
A bit scared at the moment, like a bit of nerves and stuff, but we should be fine. We get on with it, try our hardest.
Do you know what's out there?
I think we're jumping off a big boat and we're not. Yeah, we just wanted some water. Yay!
So Alice, you've done a couple of these events before and done pretty well. How do you feel about your chances today?
Well, I'm feeling fairly good, so I'm just here to enjoy it really and see how well I can do, yeah.
So Sean, your first experience of the rat race, obviously with the big boat jump, how are you looking forward to it?
That should be pretty good actually. I'm looking forward to that. Not so much the water. It's going to be cold, but you know you'll get over it. I think as soon as you get out of there.
35-minute 10k pace. I mean that's got to put you in good stead to be up there or thereabouts come the end of the race.
Yeah, I hope so. You never know who turns up on day, so you know it's anyone's really, especially an event like this.
Well, with the race about to begin, we better let this lot save their oxygen for the action. So let's join a man who never seems to run out of breath, your race commentator, Rob Walker.
Wave 1 on the start line, ready to go, bathed in sunshine here in Stockton. 978, that's John Wilkinson hoping to get in the mix. Here we go. The 2012 edition of this fascinating race with all sorts of tactics is underway. 160, that's Sean Chew. We interviewed him just before the start. 28-year-old Lancashire engineer. Starting with real confidence here. And he's already announced his tactic. Going out very hard indeed. Alistair Cox, 201, back in 4th place. The leaders well ahead of the pack here. And for some, it's simply about completing the course on their own in a group and maybe raising money for charity. But at the front, it's about tactics and it's about winning.
Think the obstacles are going to play in your favour?
Hopefully, yeah. I'm looking forward to them. Try and get a bit of time between me and rest it, pack. So see how it goes.
Have you got a game plan for today?
Try not to set off too fast. I've got a bit of a problem doing that and burning out too fast and then having to pull back later on. But this year I think I'm just going to try and take it easy to start with.
Coming into the first obstacle, called To Infinity and Beyond, Alistair Cox has temporarily managed to close down the lead that Sean Chew created on the first few hundred metres. But look at how the 28-year-old is demolishing the obstacle. He's a bigger built man than Alistair Cox, and he's taken at least, 50 metres out of the man in second place. And he's got some experience to draw on. He was 6th in the Glasgow River Rat Race 12 months ago.
What's your game plan?
Just try and stick with the guys at the front for the first bit, I suppose, and see how I'm feeling and see how fast they're going.
Well, Alistair Cox has managed to close that lead of Sean Chew's as they come down the other side of the Infinity Bridge. He does still have an advantage, the Lancastrian, but Cox has definitely narrowed the gap. And maybe we're getting an indication here as to how the tactics are going to unfold, with Chew using the obstacles to great effect and Cox reeling him in on the running sections in between. But you can see from his cadence there that Chew is not hanging around, but Cox is definitely closing. The Infinity Bridge, a magnificent sight in the background. It's won all sorts of architectural awards. Then in the centre of your picture there, in the large M, that's John Wilkinson trying to get in the mix for third place, but this really is, in the early stages anyway, developing into a real duel between Cox and Chew. Now we come to the urban assault. How will Chew approach this one? Well, it's all gusto, not so much tactics, but it's effective, isn't it? Cox is just a little bit more hesitant at this stage. A really good effort by Chew. Little glance over his shoulder. He knows Cox is there. Now the wall, and that's brilliant. He's barely breaking stride at these obstacles, so while Cox has the raw speed when they're just running, when it comes to the obstacles, Chew is eating up the ground and establishing a sizable lead. Look how much time and space he's put between him and Cox, who came into that obstacle almost alongside him. Now we come to their first dip in the tees, and this is where things get interesting. Those feet get wet and heavy, and it all gets a little bit more difficult. So here we are then. Chew, once again, Cox has closed up that sizable lead. Chew is straight across the water, the front crawl, and they really will start to feel heavy and tired at some stage soon. Cox going with the breaststroke, so he's definitely not going to be across to the other side of the river as quickly as Chew, who's already up. Again, he's just had a little glance across there just to check that he has got the lead. And you can tell even by the speed with which Cox is coming up the ladder that he has not been as quick on this obstacle. And he's going to have to find a way of closing down Sean Chew. But as the obstacles progress, Chew's lead gets bigger. Cox is reliant on that hill running experience. He's a member of the Tinto Hill Runners Club, but at the moment it's the big, powerful Lancastrian who is dominating this race for victory here at Stockton. Meanwhile, back down the course, the cargo net has a few more visitors. Maybe not as fast, but they're definitely still smiling.
Can't get up, I don't like it, it's too high. I want to come down.
Well, if she's not comfortable with those heights, she's not going to be looking forward to the Newport Bridge ascent. 2 55-metre lifting towers, and it's Chew who will approach it first. Perhaps we get to see what his head for heights is like. It took 12 men to open this bridge when it was in its pomp. Still has traffic these days, but it's usually 4 wheels, not 2 legs. But Sean Chew has a real look of intensity on his face. Now, can the hill runner use his training up with the Glasgow club to try and once again pull back the man who's proving elusive? Meanwhile, the lock gate swim. Plenty of different tactics for entering the water, but it doesn't matter how gradually you lower yourself in or how quickly you jump, you get just as wet. Interesting use of the life jacket. It really doesn't matter for most of these competitors how quickly they get there, as long as they safely negotiate the water and get to the other side. To do that, of course, you have to get in first of all. That's an entry. Wasn't quite a bomb, but it did the job. It really is a fabulous spirit, this race. If you fancy having a go, maybe sign up for the 4th edition. Certainly this 3rd race is being run and competed in a great spirit, none more so than Sean Chu, our race leader. Going really well at the moment. Now here he is taking on the Tees Barrage International Whitewater Centre. It's benefited from a £4.6 million refurbishment. It was one of the training centres ahead of the London 2012 Olympic Games. But he's going up the rapids, and this is a lot more difficult than it looks, going against the flow of the water. Here's Alistair Cox, and he's being a little bit more cautious than we've just seen from Sean Chu, and that maybe is the reason why at the end of every obstacle Chu is the one with the bigger lead. It's an up and back, if you like, so as Cox gingerly negotiates his way up the rapids, in a moment he will see Sean Chu coming down past him, having successfully finished it. It is a brilliant addition to the sporting facilities here in Stockton. Chu exits the water as Cox has a look round the corner. Not necessarily that easy to see where you're going or what's underfoot. He's smiling, he looks okay. But every 5 or 10 seconds that it takes him to get out of the water, it's yet more of a lead for Chu to try and hang on for what would be a debut rat race victory for him. Both of these guys sub-36-minute performers over the 10K. Chu out of the water, drying off a little bit, at least temporarily. And we're over the halfway point of this course now. John Wilkinson, the lone performer, trying to close in on 3rd place. And quite a few of these rat racers finding it tricky. Karen Hawkwood, the defending champion. She's leading woman so far in the first wave. And some not quite managing to stay on their feet in the water. Wave after wave and costume after costume get themselves out onto the course. Some enthusiastic sprints at the start of some of these waves. And yet more people trampling across the Newport Bridge ascent, opened incidentally by King George VI, depicted so brilliantly in that Oscar-winning film The King's Speech. What goes up must come down. Some tired legs and some heavy feet, courtesy of all these water obstacles. But it really is being negotiated in a great spirit. Some good teamwork going on here. You can see now why the distance of 10K takes nearly 2 hours for some, and there's no disgrace in that whatsoever. On an interesting tactic to take on the rapids, it's a conga. Well, it's an unusual way to go, because if one falls, so does everyone. But they seem pretty comfortable at the moment. And you don't necessarily have to go down on your feet. Now then, back with the leaders. This is called Kayak Mayhem, and once again, Chu is still in the lead, but Cox has managed to narrow the advantage. Well over the halfway point here. Can Chu put those big guns to good effect? Well, he can. He's out the water. There's the finish in the background, but there's still a little bit of running to be done before he can start thinking about his celebration at the finish line. Some tandem efforts here on the kayaks. You don't necessarily have to go forwards, but it does help a bit. Even further back down the course, hundreds now negotiating the steep inclines and the steep descents. On your bum is perfectly legitimate. As long as you get there in one piece and you're smiling, that's absolutely fine. This is the Raft Crossing. The aim's pretty simple. Get from one side to the other using the inflatable rafts and manage to stay dry. Face first is okay. Side to side is also acceptable, as long as you get there without falling in. That was a miraculous escape, and he knows it. Going in, oh, the feet at least. And way back at the cargo nets. They're still smiling and pouring forward, and this, once again, with so many of these obstacles, is definitely harder than it looks. Come on, get those legs across. He's got his Team GB shorts on. Inspired a generation, absolutely.
That was good, that. I'm never going to do that.
Well, if he thinks that's hard, how about the HM Bark Endeavour? What a climax. The biggest drop, the biggest obstacle, and it's just 400 metres from the finish line. All that and more coming up in a couple of minutes.
Plenty of water will pass under the bridges of the Tees, and many more rat racers will float in it before finally making the knee-trembling jump from up here to down there. Welcome back to the River Rat Race. Stockton is a year-round destination for all kinds of water sports, and the Tees International Whitewater Centre is a state-of-the-art training facility for canoeing, kayaking and rafting. But with 1,000 competitors, we don't have enough boats to go around, so all we'll be giving our rat racers to take to the river is one of these.
Life jacket or not, it couldn't stop our competitors getting wet at all sorts of stages throughout the 10K course. A really unique challenge. But as long as you stay dry, whether you land on your back or your front, it's all going to help you get towards the finish. Well, these are the two pace setters who've produced a fascinating duel at the front of the field. Sean Chu has always managed to get ahead of Alistair Cox on the obstacles, with the man in second place closing him down in between on the lung-bursting runs. But at the moment, it is Sean Chu who has the initiative as he approaches the big one, the one they all worry about. HM Bark Endeavour. It took Captain Cook around the world, and walking the plank here could take Sean Chu to within striking distance of what would be a brilliant debut rat race victory. No hesitation whatsoever, just what we've come to expect. Cox has closed him down as he has all the way through this course, but it is Sean Chu who has the advantage, and only a brilliant swim here from Alistair Cox could deny Chu a glorious run into the finish. But he's more of a breaststroke than a freestyle man. So when Sean Chu gets out of the water, he will have just one final obstacle to drag the heavy legs over before he gets the finish line, the applause and the title. He's coming up to the very last obstacle, appropriately called the final hurdle. Bathed in sunshine, a sizable lead, and as the first man to attempt the final hurdle, it will be dry, which will make a big difference. Here he goes, absolutely no problem whatsoever. And Sean Chu, the 28-year-old Lancastrian, is the Stockton River Rat Race champion for 2012. Big thumbs up for him. And a thumbs up as well for Alistair Cox. He's been in second place all the way round, but it's been a cat and mouse battle, and it's made it a fascinating race at the front. Looking pretty tired, this really good club runner. And he comes across the line for silver. And a solo effort in third place for John Wilkinson. A really good run, finishing just about 3 minutes behind our winner, Sean Chu, who came home in under 47 minutes.
Yeah, the running, for me, it's the hardest bit, just kind of keep that pace up, trying to keep a gap on rest of them. We're looking forward to coming to obstacles, kind of a bit of a rest, you know. Take it easy almost. Really.
Was it as cold as everyone made out as well?
To be honest, I needed it, I really did. Nice to have a little dip just near the end, so yeah, cool you down.
Superb. Well, mate, you are the 2012 Stockton-on-Tees River Rat Race champion. Congratulations, well done.
Thank you very much, cheers.
And proving it's not just the men who can get round the course successfully with a smile, Karen Hawkwood, the first woman to finish this year's rat race just under the hour. But still an awful lot of people to get to the finish, and now they start coming through in 2s, 3s and 4s. But they've got to get over that final obstacle first of all, and the more people who sweat and pour their way to the finish line, the wetter it gets, the slippier it gets, the harder it gets. Come on, you can do it. One goes left, one goes right, and both come straight back down, as do the two in the middle. A helping hand is what's required, but they'll all get there.
saw it on telly last year, I thought I'll have a go at that. Proper hard though, but so much fun. Unbelievable. Brilliant.
Brilliant, well done.
Be back next year. Been 3 years running now. Definitely sign me up for next year's then.
Well, some go synchro with 4. Other pairs need a little bit of encouragement. But the longer you stand there, the bigger the drop looks. That's more like it.
Fantastic, brilliant. It's just so exhilarating. I think the jump at the end, it just takes your breath away. It's best just to go for it and then just hold your breath till you come back out of the water.
Just do it to it.
It's 5 metres from the plank to the water. That's the equivalent of jumping off the top of a double-decker bus. Not as easy as it looks. Third time lucky? Yes. Never in doubt, was it? Well, it's too much for at least 1-2-2.
Oh, it was absolutely fantastic. Yeah, loved it. Absolutely loved it. Awesome. Best race ever.
Now watch out for the Newcastle fan in the back of shot, recreating Tom Daly's Olympic bronze. Well, not quite. Probably about a 0.1 on the judges' scorecard.
Believe in yourself.
Back at HM Bark Endeavour, the nerves and the stage fright continue.
You're doing so well, that's it, keep going.
Edging forwards gingerly, but if this was a pirate ship, there'd be no choice at all.
All right, thank you.
Surely now, oh no, another wobble, not to be this time.
Come sit down here for a minute. Just come sit in
No, keep it down.
Not brave enough for that one, I'm afraid.
Well, it's too much for some, but most of these intrepid rat racers eventually manage to conquer their nerves. One big plunge, and then it's just 400 metres to the finish. Oh, that one's done in style. And then just one final incline before the finish line, the hugs and the celebrations. Well, the sunshine is not drying it out, but absolutely nothing can dampen the spirit and the success. The big man not managing on this occasion. Sometimes a helping hand is required. Now surely he'll tame it this time. Oh yes.
Excellent. Can't think of anywhere else to go and get wet on a Sunday morning.
Well, Stockton has made the rat racers feel very welcome, and they've responded by giving us some great performances and some great entertainment. So until we taste the teas again next year, it's goodbye.